Welcome to W-EMU, where we read Reddit like it matters most. Even though we know it doesn't. Come on, who are we kidding here? And oh my goodness, this one is a real gem, folks. What we have here is a husband who thinks going with the flow means his wife gets to juggle cleaning, shopping, and cooking for a gathering that he springs on her with absolutely no notice. Okay, maybe 4 hours notice, but really, absolutely no notice. And when she finally decides to go with the flow, she floats right out of the house. And him, he cancels the event. Classic, right? Can't handle throwing it for himself. Where's his flow? Now he's skulking, calling her difficult and uptight. I'm just gonna say it. If going with the flow means getting treated like a personal assistant without the paycheck, count me out. Look, it's not like she's asking for a month's notice. It's not even like she's asking him to contribute any help. She's just asking for a couple of days to get things in order. And honestly, that just doesn't seem like too much, does it? But here's the kicker. When he cancels, he somehow manages to blame her for not accommodating his oh-so-spontaneous little shinking. This leaves him looking less like a man and more like a little infant child. Honestly, how hard is it to check with your partner before inviting people over? I'm not asking for a lot of thoughtfulness, just basic respect for time and effort. This one's a clear NTA, and you are not going to find me on the side of, oh, just go with the flow, when your partner's flow is all about you drowning in unpaid labor. Baz is outside the am I the asshole, where reality has checked out. What are the locals saying, Baz?
Thanks, Lainey. It does not look good. Here we are, a place where people somehow expect you to manage not just your own plans, but everyone else's too. I spoke with Outrageous Ad 9635, who says if he doesn't want to do it, why should you? We were speaking with Anxious Marketing 525, who said it's sort of like Stepford Wives and It Follows, but with men catching weaponized incompetence and or women catching passive-aggressive doormatedness. Signal Till 933 said how much you want to bet he blamed her for everything too, and that's classic deflection. I'm not sure how this flow is supposed to be anything but an absolute mess. Perpetually Exhausted, sounds good, who clearly has a PhD in event planning, said he should have just ordered a pizza or a bucket of biryani. Dare I say a bucket of chicken, Lainey. You know, this guy is nothing but a quitter. A slow pizza is 2 hours away, but you know what? You still get pizza and you still have 2 hours to finish planning for when your friends arrive. Or you could just order 2 hours later. Do you see how the math works here? The real takeaway is if your partner can't get it together when it's his event, you might just need to do a little going with the flow yourself right out the door and find a new boyfriend, husband, whatever. You're not anyone's maid, and you're definitely not their emotional labor mule. Back to you, Lainey.
My, ladies and gentlemen. Just when you thought it was 2025 out there, some knuckle-dragger just wants to bring us kicking and screaming back into the 1950s. Well, sweetheart, I say good riddance to this one. Coming up next, a Redditor gets banned for building a trebuchet to fire their neighbor's Christmas inflatables into the next county? Stay tuned.
Ever looked at something so confusing, so baffling, you just had to ask? Make it make sense.
Now you can. Introducing Make It Make Sense, the only device guaranteed to untangle the spaghetti in your brain. Got a puzzle? A mystery? A Reddit thread more tangled than your headphone wire?
It makes it make sense, like magic, or, well, science. Probably science.
How does it work? It's simple. You just press this button and clarity.
Make it make sense, no need to pretend. From chaos to order, it's your best friend. Make it make sense, don't break your head. Plug in the device and move ahead. Make it make sense, because sometimes you gotta ask.
Welcome back to W-EMU, where we pretend Reddit matters, even though it really doesn't. I'm your host, Lainey. Our next story, well, let me give you the TLDR. Some woman at Target, we'll call her Karen, clearly in need of a life coach, mistook a shopper for an employee just because OP had the audacity to wear red and khakis. Can you imagine? Karen then demands this poor stranger use their employee discount on her cart full of merchandise. Karen was just shocked that anyone would dare not help her, as if Target's entire mission statement includes the phrase, volunteer as a free retail assistant for the entitled. Did Karen go quietly once it was established OP was not, in fact, an employee? Nope. Karen ends up yelling at the cashier, causing quite the little scene as if the toddlers throwing a tantrum in the candy aisle were not enough to deal with. Well, the reason for the visit, OP just wanted to buy Cheetos and toilet paper. That's it. Just trying to live their best life in peace, like we all are, until Karen comes barreling through Target with a self-entitled cart. I'm curious to know how many people OP had to patiently explain to that, no, he doesn't work here. Was it just Karen, or was it the other shoppers too? Let's go live to the street to see what people are saying about this one. Blaine?
Thanks, Lainey. It does not look good. I've talked to a few people out here, and let me tell you, this kind of confusion happens all the time. It is as if wearing red and khakis is an open invitation for anyone to ask you for help. You wouldn't believe the things people think they can demand just because someone's dressed in store colors. The stories have erupted in record turnout. Reddit is full of people who have dealt with this many more than once. One user was approached by a man who said, hey, you work here, right? And once they said no, the man continued to follow them halfway across the store. as if being mistaken for an unpaid employee is a badge of honor, We spoke with one low 5610 who said no one reads when another user suggested a high-vis vest to wear with a red shirt that says not an employee. Not a bad idea, but again, no one reads. Half of the problem isn't that people want help, it's that they refuse to take the time to figure it out for themselves. They want someone to take care of them, guide them through the absolutely top-tier challenge that is navigating a Target store that is designed by PhDs in psychology to make you spend more money. So not only does this ogre of an asshole want someone who doesn't work at Target to help her with the most trivial of tasks, just in case OP does work there, they should lose their job by giving this poor excuse of a human their discount. Yes, a fireable offense at any reasonable corporation, or even lemonade stand. Finally, we spoke with Maleficent Sendikirle, who seems to be one of the few, the proud, the chaotic neutrals of the world. Here's your discount code, 8675309. So, Lainey, the battle rages on. Will entitled people ever stop trying to unload their rudimentary tasks on the capable of the world, or will they simply never grow up and put their piggy pants on and figure out life for themselves like the rest of us just do? Back to you, Lainey.
Well, Baz, I'm hearing from the control room that your name is in fact Baz and not Blaine, so sorry about that. Anyway, always a pleasure hearing about other people's heroic efforts to simply exist in the Target jungle. And to Karen, who only sees red shirts, well, you're not entitled to an employee discount, and frankly, it's just bizarre that you would even think of such a thing. So here's what I have to say. Before going shopping, take a moment, breathe, have a snack. Remember that no one owes you a favor just because they're dressed like Target employees, even if they are a Target employee. Honestly, it's time to stop pretending that retail workers are our personal assistants to anyone who just strolls in off the streets. Coming up next on W-EMU, is it a clown car or just a misunderstanding? The day a suburban family tried to return a used hot tub to Walmart? I know it sounds crazy, but that's Reddit for you. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm 14. I've never been on a date, but I have been in 6 Reddit arguments, and my mom says I'm very mature for my age. So when your boyfriend doesn't text you back for like 12 minutes, that means he's cheating, obviously. You need to send a 47-paragraph message to demand he explain what he was doing in 1996. Or, and hear me out, make a burner account. Message his mom. Get answers. You followed my advice. Now you're single, banned from 3 subreddits, and somehow owe $600 in DoorDash charges. Your cat hates you, your ex is thriving, you've got a framed screenshot of you up, and you are not.
You trusted someone whose biggest life decision was which Mountain Dew flavor to chug on Twitch. That's not advice. That's a cry for help building a follower count. Welcome back to W-EMU, where we are still reading Reddit. Family drama at its finest. You're going to love this story. So, the OP and their brother inherit a family home. Naturally, one sibling decides to buy out the other. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Except not so much. When the one sibling can't wait for the money and starts sneaking behind everyone's back, showing the house to developers? Oosh. For those keeping track, that's a real shady move. So, OP, in a moment of brilliance, maybe desperation, decides to change the locks to stop the brother from selling out to some developers who are only going to tear the house down to build condos. I don't know. I'm not the smartest one, but it seems to me if you're just tearing it down, you don't really need the keys to get inside. Anyway, I digress. Now the brother's livid, claiming that OP is sabotaging his financial future. But wait, didn't OP already agree to buy him out? Ugh, what a mess. And now the whole family's involved. Some are calling OP out for overstepping and others are defending them. You're going to love to see it, or you're going to love to watch it burn, depending on how much popcorn you have. So let's find out who the real Slim Shady is in this situation. Baz is out getting the lowdown as we speak. Baz!
Thanks, Lainey. It does not look good. We've got a case of sibling rivalry at its finest here, with Op deciding the best way to handle a potentially tricky property deal is to lock the door on their brother. Seriously, folks, there's a ton of legal gray area here, and the only thing really locked up is the common sense everywhere. Op's brother may not have handled things in the most transparent way, but it's also pretty clear that Op's no saint in this scenario. The showing it to developers move is suspicious, yes, but Op could have solved this with a simple lawyer consultation rather than, locking the door. We're just going to look at a couple comments out here. Small Town HR, horrible name, says, you need an attorney, not advice from Reddit. Okay, thanks. That seems to be clear to everyone except for Op. In fact, the entire comment section has turned into a slowly swaying, chanting chorus of the same comment over and over. It's as if this comment has been hijacked with real, actual advice. Op, get a fucking lawyer. Back to you, Lainey.
Well, what a mess we have here. Siblings bickering over property, things getting locked up both figuratively and literally. I don't see anyone winning here except for maybe the lawyers who will eventually get paid to clean up this mess. But you know what? Right after God created families, he created lawyers to clean up all of their duty. And with the way this story's going, the lawyers may in fact be the only heroes left. Yikes! What a thought. Coming up next, folks, a strange Reddit story about a cat who learned how to drive a car? Wait! That's a thing? Stick around. Are you tired of karma farming? Reposts that make you want to scream, moderators who act like they're running the FBI, endless hot takes that feel like nails on a chalkboard?
It's like, why is everyone yelling? And why do they keep posting the same damn meme? I mean, come on!
You need the fuck outside. The only prescription strength cure for your internet-induced rage. Oh, honey, you're so mad about Reddit. It's adorable. Here's a little medicine for that. Go outside. Yes. Outside, people don't argue about reposts, but instead argue over who forgot to mow the lawn. You're a terrible Redditor, and nobody's gonna love your post, so go out and get some fresh air. Side effects may include actual human interaction, fresh perspectives, and suddenly realizing most Reddit arguments don't matter.
Why didn't I think of that?
Maybe because you've been indoors arguing about karma farming since 2008, silly.
The fuck outside. Because sometimes the best cure is just a little fresh air.
Welcome back to W-EMU, where we are still reading Reddit. All right, folks, grab your coffee because it's time for a dose of corporate karma, served up nice and cold. Ooh, just the way we like it. Our story today, an IT worker, a quality assurance analyst, no less, who was told, get this, not to log minor bugs. Yep, you heard that right. Stop doing your job. Why? Because minor bugs are slowing down the devs. And when you're facing a deadline, who cares if the apps buttons are overlapping, am I right? So our hero, let's call him Harry Mason 02, says, you got it, boss, and then proceeds to comply. For 2 full sprints. For those out in the cheap seats, that's a measurement of time in the IT world. He only logged the blocker issues. No cosmetic issues, no minor glitches, just the serious stuff. And what happens next? Well, the product ships, and guess what? In classic fashion, the end users instantly find all the minor issues. Oh, and they are not happy. In fact, they're furious. Now, when the post-mortem comes around, and boy, does it come, the managers ask, well, why weren't these bugs found during QA? And OP, ever the consummate professional, looks around the room and says, with a sweet smile, well, they were found, but per your instructions, I didn't log them. Do you hear that, folks? That is the sound of sweet, sweet revenge. That was a masterclass in malicious compliance, if I've ever seen one. Now, we're going to go live to Baz on location outside our malicious compliance. Baz, what do you got for us?
Thanks, Lainey. It does not look good. Now let's break this down. Harry's genius move wasn't just about not logging bugs. It was about making sure management got exactly what they asked for. They told him to stop logging non-logging bugs. So sure, no problem. And then the client saw the fallout. The manager was shocked. I mean, who could have predicted this outcome, really? It's like they didn't want to fix bugs in the first place. The manager tried to argue his case, but honestly, the damage was done. After a disastrous postmortem, suddenly logging all bugs, no matter how trivial, became very important again. And the manager, he got moved to a new team. Shocking, I know. He should have been fired. From a community who understands the eye-raking tribulations of working in the corporate IT world, Reddit is delivering the burns in all degrees today. Yeah, someone says, I thought my app was crashing every 5 minutes, but it turns out it was just buttons overlapping. Who knew? Anyway, the lesson learned. Don't mess with your software QA team, folks. They actually truly do have the last laugh when your product falls apart in front of everyone. Back to you, Lainey.
Oh, Baz, isn't it just poetic? When you get too cocky and ignore the basics, this is what happens. The product ships late, customers get upset, and suddenly, the very issues you ignored are front and center. Maybe next time the manager will think twice before telling the QA team to stop doing their job. However, something tells me, probably not. Managers have a slow learning curve. Anyway, we'll be right back after the break. And when we return, we'll take a deep dive into the delightful world of corporate innovation and how to turn a broken printer into the world's next big tech startup. You're not going to want to miss this. See you soon.
I'm a Reddit power mod. I control 78 subs. I wake up angry. I just banned someone for posting a circle and a square meme in R geometry. You asked why you were banned? That's Rule 12, subsection H. Questioning moderation decisions is a bannable offense. Mods are volunteers with unchecked power.
Tired of playing 4D chess with unstable moderators? You need the Deal With It plan. Covers sudden removal of posts for tone. Includes Rule 0 clause, which is a retroactive ban removal from any sub. This isn't a debate sub protection, even when it is a debate sub. Full indemnity from mods who lock the thread, then reply to you last. Immunity to shadow bans. Maybe.
I just created a new rule while you were reading that. It's recursive. You broke it retroactively. You're banned.
Don't argue. Just deal with it. With the Deal With It plan.
Remember, I don't need a reason. I am the reason.
Deal With It plan.
Because logic is optional.
Welcome back to W-EMU, where Reddit's finest revenge stories get the studio shine that they deserve. For our last story of the night, we're going to hit up our petty revenge. And they dish it up just as expected, folks. Tonight's final tale is served on warm whole wheat pettiness. Pass a side of smug comeuppance. Now, imagine your abusive ex-husband marries one of his adulterous fuck partners. Let's call her Janie, because of course that is her name. And she thinks that she has slept her way into a higher tax bracket and out of accountability. Sweetheart, there is no amount of money or imported marmalade that can buy what is missing in your mind and in your soul. But don't worry, she's about to be served the most delicious truth sandwich of her life. Let's start where our story begins. OP, a single mom because her abusive ex left her for a little strange, and is now scraping by, raising her son Sam the old-fashioned way. Discipline, love, and literally 3 made from scratch meals a day. No maid, no money, no sympathy from Janie, who drips condescension like it's Chanel number 5. And her son John, oh Baz, wait for it. John once demanded, and I quote, "Make me toast with marmalade on whole wheat. Cut the crust off, and I hope it's organic and good." I'm sorry. What did that little dictator, or should I say tater tot dick, say? Even Marie Antoinette thinks this little puke's too much. Fast forward a couple of decades, Janie and John's glow up has gone poof. He's now a homeless, heroin-addicted cautionary tale. Janie runs into OP at a community event. And Janie, full of filler and dashed dreams, leans in and says, "Oh, poor Sam, he never was very bright. I hope he's doing okay." Now, Baz, I hope your backup mic is running, because this is where our girl hits her with a backhanded blessing so devastating I had to pause and fan myself. Well, actually, Sam has 3 STEM degrees, is a rocket scientist, owns a house, and is dating a lawyer. But how is John? I hope rehab finally sticks this time. It was so nice seeing you. This is the kind of revenge you can marinate in for decades, folks. Baz, you're outside the Our Petty Revenge. Tell us, how's the weather out in the comment section?
Thanks, Laney. It does not look good. I'm standing here outside of Our Petty Revenge, where the Reddit crowd is passing out moral high fives and secondhand vindication like hotcakes at a chuck wagon breakfast. User A Skryline adds, "I nannied for a rich kid who had everything except for love." And there it is, folks, the subtitle of 90% of all Hallmark's rejected Christmas scripts. Meanwhile, in the shade section, CT Mike writes, "This sounds faker than Pamela Anderson." Okay, you know what? We're going to censor that. Stay classy, Mike. The problem with being a true Redditor is you think the entire world is fabricated for karma mining. We call that one projection. We heard from I Was Goatbeard First, who said, "A 4.3 GPA in college? Impossible." Okay, Laney, look, if weighted GPAs blow your mind, wait until you learn about rocket surgery, because that is not even that good of an academic grade when you're talking about the top minds out there. But when you are in fact Goatbeard First, I guess your life is bigger than understanding the things that you criticize. Yeah, finally we have Lilith Electra, who says, "I hope this marmalade is good." Well, yes, I think that's about as good as it gets out here, lady. Let's try to keep this one happy, productive, moving, and toss it back to you in the studio.
Baz, I have never been more proud of Reddit than I am at this moment. The emotional roller coaster went from humble toast orders to career dunking nanophysics. Oh, this is a revenge story. It's more. This is a Lifetime original series with a cameo from the Ghost of Karma. And the moral here, never underestimate the single mom who can stretch a budget and her kid's IQ past the stratosphere. If Janie wanted marmalade, honey, she just got smacked with a truth tart. Next time on W-EMU, a Redditor asks if they are the asshole for throwing a gender reveal party for their cat. You know what, Baz? Don't even answer. I already bought a tiny pink and blue scratching post. It doesn't matter. Anyway, thanks for watching our show. You should probably go ahead and like, subscribe, and share a link with a friend. It's going to make you look a lot more witty and sophisticated than you're ever going to hope to be. And remember, while some people grow up, others just age. Coming up this week on Hearts on Probation, the only soap opera where the restraining orders are written in cursive and everyone has at least one alias.
Tobias finally confesses he is not Tobias. He is his long-lost twin, Tavius, but Gretchen already knew because she's been married to both.
Lorenzo returns from the dead with a suitcase full of forged paternity tests and a tan suspiciously consistent with faking his death in the Bermuda Triangle.
Sheriff Delilah is presumed missing until her voice is discovered on a bootleg meditation tape being sold at the farmer's market.
Meanwhile, Nana's Revenge Trust Fund triggers a clause that turns the entire estate into a Crumble franchise unless someone remarries before Tuesday?
And Damon's proposal is once again postponed after the Zumba flash mob is taken for a protest blocks access to City Hall again.
Will the courtroom DNA test reveal a second set of identical twins?
Will a baby born in last week's episode age 10 years overnight?
Find out this Friday on Hearts on Probation, where the love is conditional, and so is the bail money.